Collinwood in 1840, and the great house has a new master, Gerard Stiles. However, according to Daniel's will, Quentin will regain control of the estate if he leaves the jail a free man. And so Gerard plans to implicate Quentin in a new crime. A crime he is convinced will lead to a charge of witchcraft and to Quentin's eventual death. And so in the prison, Quentin's jailer and enemy, Mrs. Ward, dies.
She's dead.
Mrs. Ward.
Trask, I didn't do anything. She must have had a heart attack.
You'll pay for this death, too. You'll pay.
I'm telling you, I didn't touch her.
This is witchcraft, Mr. Collins. The world will soon know it. It's not enough to punish you for murder. You must be destroyed as the warlock you are.
Mr. Stiles?
Well, you heard the news and you've come to congratulate me. Yes, my dear Daphne, I am Master Collins.
You really enjoy upsetting everyone, don't you?
Well, you're partially right there. But now I would like to explain myself so you would understand and that way know me a little better.
I believe I already know you well enough.
You don't know me at all yet.
Well, I know that you took advantage of the friendship Quentin offered you to steal his inheritance away.
You're like everyone else. But the truth is a little different. Now, everybody seems to think that I've come here to spend a great Collins fortune. Well, they're wrong. No, Daphne. When Quentin returns, I will relinquish everything. Very easily and very gracefully, more gracefully than Gabriel could possibly. Now, don't you believe me?
No,
Why?
I don't know.
You're going to have to trust me if we're going to have a nice future together.
We're not going to have any future together at all, Mr. Stiles.
Well, you're wrong there. You see, when Quentin comes back, I shall leave Collinsport. I shall leave, but I won't be alone.
I don't know what you mean, Mr. Stiles.
Don't you? I mean that eventually you will be leaving with me.
That could never happen.
There you are. I'm glad both of you are together.
I was just leaving.
Why, is something wrong?
Yes, Daphne, is something wrong?
If there isn't, I would like to discuss Tad.
Ah, yes, a subject that we're both interested in. I assured Quentin that I would look after the boy.
Samantha is afraid that you will upset the child. She wants you to stay away from him.
Oh, really? You afraid that I'll deliberately hurt the boy? Not acknowledge his existence once he enters the room? No, my dear friend. I'm afraid that boy is the only friend I really have. Isn't that true, Daphne?
I don't think Tad should be subjected to any more of this dissension.
And he won't be either. And if there's any that comes, it'll be coming from Samantha. Good evening, Mr. Trask.
Good evening. Well, it's good that you're here, Mr. Collins.
Why, Trask?
I understand you're reviving your dormant career as an attorney. Well, you and this poor misguided girl here have resisted every clue to Quentin Collins' true nature, but you can no longer.
What has happened, Trask?
Witchcraft in the Citadel of Justice. Yes, in the jail itself. I have just come from there. The jailer's wife is dead. And Quentin Collins is responsible.
Witchcraft. That's ridiculous. There must be a definite cause of death.
Yes? A warlock named Quentin Collins. I suggest you go to your client, Counselor. I'm sure he needs you very much.
Yes, I will go to him simply to get the truth. Lord knows I wouldn't believe you.
And neither would I.
Daphne, please, don't be frightened.
I don't know whether what I feel is fear or anger.
Well, let it be anger. There is no reason for fear.
Oh, isn't there?
No, there isn't. I'll be back as soon as I talk to Quentin.
Perhaps I should come with you.
No, I think it's time for a lawyer-client meeting. Will you be up later?
Well, I'll stay up. I have to know how he is.
Don't worry.
Well, I certainly don't want any taints of witchcraft around Collinwood.
Well, then come out into the open. Support me.
What a primitive mind you have, Trask.
Sir.
There are other ways of helping you other than running around repeating everything that you say publicly. No. I think it would be best if I just remained in the dark shadows.
Desmond, do you think it's possible that Mrs. Ward died simply because she was frightened of me? Or was it witchcraft? And I don't mean mine. Do you think it's possible that she was killed by the same person as trying to destroy me? I think of poor Jim Ward. Hey, you should have seen his face when he saw his wife.
The coroner is performing the autopsy now to establish the cause of death.
Yes, but supposing there's no visible cause.
We will worry about that later.
You know, earlier tonight I said to you that at least since I was in jail, there'd be no more killings. And now there's been another one.
You cannot be accused of murder because a woman was found lying dead in here, or because Randall Drew, you were kneeling beside him. The evidence, Quentin, is all circumstantial. You will walk out of that inquest tomorrow a free man. There is no case against you.
Now listen to me. Trask claims he found a voodoo doll in my laboratory. He says that I used it to try and strangle you. And he's also going to bring up the ring I wear. A ring that he says has the mark of the devil, the same mark that was on Lorna Bell. Trask is not merely crying murder. He's accusing me of witchcraft.
Quentin, be sensible. You cannot be tried for witchcraft in this day and age. Not since 1696. It isn't legal. The inquest tomorrow is purely to establish whether there is any concrete evidence that you killed Randall Drew. And because there isn't, I will ask that they throw the case out of course, and they will. You'll be home in Collinwood tomorrow night, a free man. Faced with the problem of getting rid of Gerard Stiles.
It's certainly good that Gabriel is in charge of his father's funeral. It makes him feel important.
Yes, it's really quite tragic that it should come on the same day as the inquest into Randall's death. No chance, is there, that Quentin is responsible for Daniel's death, too?
None at all.
Well, then, the Almighty spared Daniel. Will you be at the inquest tomorrow?
No. No, as it would happen, I have duties to attend. You understand?
Perfectly. We both have duties. Tomorrow. How my poor late father would have looked forward to tomorrow. I've always been convinced that a Collins was responsible for his death, but I've never been able to prove it. Tomorrow, my father, wherever he is, will be smiling.
Desmond, be completely honest with me. Do you really think Quentin will be free tomorrow?
Not a doubt in my mind.
Oh, Desmond.
I think it's time to say that once not too long ago, I'd hoped you'd run to me because of me. Quentin's a lucky man.
Desmond, you're so sweet. Now, what'll happen when Quentin returns?
I'd need Letitia's second sight to see that. But there's one thing I do know. These extraordinary incidents, this careful plotting against Quentin, it will not stop.
It must stop.
Why? Do you think whoever is behind it will be discouraged? I don't.
I think it's Gerard that's doing it.
You think so, too?
I don't have any reason at all. But he frightens me so, especially now that he's in the house.
Tell me, does he know how you feel about him?
He doesn't know that he frightens me. He knows I don't trust him.
That's too bad. I was never really able to check up on him when he was at Rose Cottage. He knew how antagonistic I felt. But perhaps you...
Yes, I could. I can watch him very carefully.
You must. We must have positive proof that he is doing something wrong. Otherwise, Quentin will never believe us.
Desmond, if it is witchcraft, then that means Gerard is...
That's right. Are you afraid to try to trap him?
I won't let myself be afraid.
Good girl. Now you get to bed. Nothing more can happen tonight.
As long as Gerard Stiles is in this house, something evil can always happen. I know that. I don't understand why.
Don't worry about tomorrow.
You've made me feel much better, Desmond, honestly.
And remember, watch Gerard.
So, Trask, you say that Desmond and Daphne are plotting against me. Well, she won't be plotting for long.
It's easy for you to say, but I believe you are blinded by her beauty.
I will worry about her. You just go along and worry about the inquest. Good night.
Good night.
Now, Daphne, shall I show you more of the future that you're afraid of? The dreams that you don't understand? Now, sleep. And in your sleep, you will think of me kindly. More kindly than you would if you were awake. So, now what is to happen?
You must. You must. You want to go through with it. You love him. You love him so much. When you see him, run to his arms. Run to his arms.
My darling. You want to marry me? I can tell. As I want to marry you. I can think of no other life together. But you and me, you by my side as my wife. And powers, I will share them with you. Now, come. Come to me now.
I must have had that dream again. Why can't I ever remember it? What are you doing here?
Well, I thought you called me.
I couldn't possibly have called you. I've been asleep.
You must have had another dream. Why don't you come downstairs and have a sherry with me? It would relax you.
No. No,
Your Honor, in behalf of my client, I wish to state if he is held further and charged for a murder which is impossible to prove that he did, it will not only embarrass the state, but be an injustice to Mr. Collins. Therefore, I request, Your Honor, that the charges against Mr. Collins for the murder of Randall Drew be dismissed and dropped from the calendar court.
Mr. Collins, I have investigated the charges against you in this case very carefully. Now, you will notice I have not asked the prosecutor to be present here.
We have noticed, Your Honor.
The reason I did that was there was no reason for it. I see no conclusive evidence pointing to a link between Mr. Collins and the murder of Mr. Drew. I hereby dismiss all charges. The case will not come to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We appreciate your wisdom, sir.
I can't believe I'm free.
Mr. Collins, you are not completely free as yet. Mr. Trask, you may enter if you please.
Here are the depositions, Judge Wiley.
What depositions, Your Honor?
Depositions testifying that Quentin Collins is a warlock.
This is a court of law, Your Honor. A man may not be indicted for being a witch under the law in the year 1840.
Silence in the court. I have not given the counselor permission to speak. I am going to peruse these documents in my chamber. Court is adjourned until 3 o'clock.
But you must explain, sir.
I need explain nothing until I have perused these documents, counselor.
But there is no law.
There is no law. Is your client above the law, Mr. Collins, because he is in league with the devil?
Quentin, I can't believe they're really going to bring up this charge.
Now, believe me, we're gonna get together. Somehow we're gonna get together.
We have to, and
We will.
It's nearly time.
Did you find anything in the law books?
Not a thing. I have no idea what Trask is up to.
Have you read the deposition, sir?
I have.
All brought to you by a private citizen as prescribed by the law.
What law?
Order in the court.
Your Honor, my client is only asking his legal rights. He wants to know for what considering are you holding him? What authority? What action?
Mr. Collins, I am not considering holding your client. I have no choice but to hold him. Under the power vested in me, according to the law of this state, number 119, dated 23rd of April, 1696.
There is no such law. Maine was not a state then.
Counselor, I do not need you to tell me the laws of this state that I am honor bound to withhold. The articles of our statehood specify that we keep those laws engendered upon us when we were a part of the royal colony of Massachusetts. Therefore, in accordance with Law 119, dated 23 April 1696, a citizen can be charged with witchcraft if there are depositions from 6 citizens claiming from personal experience acts of witchcraft and naming the perpetrator of said evil. Therefore, Quentin Collins, I hereby, by the power invested in me, charge you with the infamous practices of witchcraft. I order you to be held without bail or bond in the county jail until such time as you come to trial under a special tribunal of 3 judges chosen specifically according to this law. Upon completion of your trial, if you are found guilty, your punishment will be death in the manner prescribed by the law, beheaded